Hey, welcome back. Today we're going to do a video on a spiral pattern on your stone. This is what that looks like. As you can see, I've got two colors. We're going to keep it simple today. You can do 3, 4, 5 colors if you were really wanting to do that, but we're going to keep it really simple today for the basics, just using 2 colors. So I'm going to choose a couple different colors than this one for today. And you can choose 2 colors. What you're going to need is 2 colors that you want your spiral pattern to be in. Your color for your center, which could be the same as one of your colors that's going around, or you can completely change it. And then you also need a color for your tiny little filler dots. To me, what I've done is I've taken a color that resembles one of the colors that's kind of in the middle. I'm a little obsessed with this paint right here that you can see in the middle. It's called Prisme paint, and it's right here with I just actually received this about a week ago in the mail, so I'm super excited to be playing around with it. And so this is my first stone with it in the center, and I quite love it. So what I did was I just took a metallic color that was one of the ones really resembling that prism color in the middle, and that's what I'm going to use for my filler dots. So I'm going to use the same center color as this one, but I'm going to change up the outside, so you're going to be able to see how it picks up the different colors that are in this prism paint, because it's not just blue. It's actually got quite a few amazing colors in it. I will post the link below for this if it's something that you're interested in. I actually got a pack of samples that so there's a couple different colors for this one. There's a couple different colors for a few acrylics that create a different effect. So I will do a video on that another day. But this is what this one looks like if you are as obsessed as I am with how beautiful that is. Okay, so if you choose your stone, I'm going to actually just choose one of my stones that I've created through the gypsum stone and the Happy Dotty Company silicone mold. But you can choose any stone. This one here is just on a regular natural stone. And a couple of your dotting tools. So you want something that goes from your toothpick all the way up in a scale of up to maybe not even quite as big as a thumbtack, but you could go that high. And then you do need a dowel or something that's going to create that center dot that's quite a bit bigger than all the other tools that are around it. So that, if you have your fabric measuring tape, that's ideal as well. And then we will get started. I'm going to take you down to the table here, and we're going to show you how this is done. Okay, once you found your center dot, what you want to do is find your, we're going to make some grid lines. So what we want to do is go crisscross. We're going to go one way here, and then we're going to do the opposite. So you can see here that I've gone crisscross here because I want to make sure that where I'm putting my dots is going to be even. Otherwise, it's going to kind of throw off the whole flow of the swirl. So next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing, but we're going to go along this way. Now you can eyeball it or you can measure it, whatever you're most comfortable with. In order to measure it, if that is something that you want to do, you can just use your fabric measuring tape and you just find your position here between your centimeters and just create a little dot there on each side, and then be able to go across it and create your grid lines. So those are the lines that I'm going to create here. This is really all we need at this point. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to put our center dot. So this is my Prisme paint. As you can see, when it's wet, it doesn't have the exact same effect as it does when it dries. Once it's drying, this is what it will dry like, kind of these weird little funky shapes in the center. Okay, so I'm going to take my large dowel here. And I'm just adding some paint, obviously, to the bottom of this here. And then I'm going to create my dot. Okay, seriously, super obsessed with this paint. So you want to make sure that this dot is perfect. Because even if some of your other dots along the way aren't as perfect, this one is the focal point of your, or not only the focal point of your stone, but it's also going to be setting the stage for the rest of your design. So if it's not on point, you're going to have trouble getting the rest of it on point as well. So what I've done is I've chosen my two colors. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of my smaller dotting tools. It's not quite the smallest that I have. If we're going by a toothpick, you can see this here. This is probably about the size that I'm using. So it's not, it's about a second size up from one of my smaller ones. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put dots on each of these lines. So typically you'll go top to bottom and side to side first, making sure those are all on point. I want these all to be the same size. And then we're going to go here. And then we are going to go in the center of these ones as well. We're going to start off using the same color all the way around for this first ring. This just sets out that center stone or center dot a little bit more before you're getting into the details of your spiral. So we're going to take our same tool that we just used, and what we're going to do is we're going to just start off. Doesn't matter which space you start off in. And now we're going to skip one valley and we're going to go into the next. And we're going to skip. And you're going to do that all the way around. Okay, so I've gone all the way around with that same tool, same color, and now I'm going to get my second color out, and I'm going to fill in the dots, the missing dots here with every second one with my new color. Okay, so now we're going to level up a little bit here. We're going to go up to another next size of your dotting tool. Doesn't have to be too much bigger, just slightly bigger here. So as you can see, this is the one that I was using, and this is the one that I'm going to go up to. So let's just take our teal again here. And what we're going to do is now where this dot is, we're going to just put, we're going to go in the middle of those two dots. And you're going to keep being consistent on the side that you're putting that dot. So this one here is, we're moving forward one, moving forward, and we're skipping every second or each second one, right? So we're just basically creating a dot every second space. And you can see we've moved forward with each of those, with that color. So now we're going to go back to our first color. And we want to fill in those valleys that we skipped over. And as you can see now, this one is moving forward. We're just moving forward in our space with our color. Sorry, I keep moving the stone all over here. Sometimes I kind of get lost in the painting and forget that I'm actually doing the video and that I need to pay attention to where my stone is. Okay, so you're making sure all those are nice and even, all the same size. And now we're going to do the same thing again with our next layer, but we are going to move up slightly, not too much, just slightly in our next size of tool. It doesn't matter which color you start with, just make sure that you're following that same pattern. So I'm going to start with my first color again, but so I know I need to move one space forward. So I'm not doing it on this side, I'm going forward. I'm going clockwise every time that I'm putting a new dot. And you're always skipping a space before you're putting your next one. So now we're going to take our second color, fill those spaces in. So now this is your basic pattern. This is what we're going to do as we go around, and we're just going to ever increase our sizes a little bit as we go. So now I'm moving up to my next size on my dotting tool. Just wipe off your tool, and then you're going on to your next color. Bring the next color in. Once you get started here, it's pretty easy to continue to follow this same pattern. because I don't want to get too big too fast, because if I keep enlarging my tool every single time, I'm going to get to some really big dots down here before I'm ready to do that. So I'm actually just going to use the same tool that I just did and do another ring around here in that same size. Okay, so now I may level up here, and basically this is what you're going to do all the way through, carrying on that same pattern, adjusting your size. I'll continue doing this, and then we're going to come back and we'll do the finishing details. One thing I just want to mention here, as I'm getting around down to the sides and the bottom of my stone, it gets a little bit tricky to be handling your stone and moving it. So what I've just done is, I'm going to show you here, I've just added a little sponge underneath, just so that I can use that to be moving it around. You can use anything you like. Just helps with being able to not have to touch your stone as much, especially as you're getting down near the bottom and around the sides. Okay, so we are back again. My stone is completely dry. You want to make sure that your stone is really, really dry, because you're going to be handling it a lot here, and you don't want to mess up your dots. So I've left this for a while to make sure that it's super dry. The next thing I'm going to do, so I've got my color here that I want to use for my tiny little dots, and I'm going to use my toothpick. And what we're going to do is we're just going to start off by going around this main circle here, our first center dot, and I'm just going to put little dots in those valleys all the way around. Okay, so then the next thing you want to do is pick which color you're going to put your little dots on, because we're just doing one. As you can see here, I've just chosen the purple spirals to put my dots on, so that's what we're going to do here, is you're just going to pick which one. So I think I'm going to be picking my kind of this blue gray color here. It's called Night Sky, and I really want those ones to pop because it is a bit of a darker color, and I know that my teal is quite popped already. Okay, so as you can see here, I did one spiral. This is what we're going to do for each of the spirals all the way around. So what you do is you just take your toothpick and you're just going to start up at the top, and you're basically just putting a little dot in each of the valleys all the way along that spiral. and one at the end there. So you want to make sure that you don't have a whole lot of paint on your toothpick, especially up at the top, because you want to make sure you've got some nice tiny clean dots happening there. So again, I'm just following the spiral all the way down and adding little dots in those little V's. As I get to some of my bigger spaces where I've got the bigger dots, I've just bumped up my tool a little bit so that I can make the dot just a little bit bigger, so you're filling in more of that space. So you can go around after you've done your tiny dots in here, and then as you're getting wider, just increase your tool size just a little bit. You don't want it to be too big, but you definitely want it to stand out and fill in that space. Okay, so we are all finished our little spiral stone. So I hope you had a blast making this one. It's a really fun design. You can add more colors. You can do more than just 2 colors if you're getting kind of brave and ready to take that next step. Otherwise, just keep playing with the 2 colors, and when you change the color, you completely change the stone. So it's super fun to do. I hope you had fun, and I look forward to seeing you next time. So I decided after the stone was completely dry that it was still a little bit too dark for my liking. So I'm actually going to take a color that's lighter. It's a aqua and then an ocean blue. And I'm going to do a second layer over these dots just to create a little bit more dimension, but also to brighten up the stone a little bit. Okay, so sorry for the loud construction outside. If you can hear all that, it's really awesome. Happening most of the day, so hopefully you can't hear too much of it in the background. But I wanted to show you how I do this here.